Climate change overall as a discourse everywhere, but also particularly now because in India the discourse is relatively new. It's extremely technocratic, extremely top down, very, very jargon heavy, inaccessible, and also in a sense very masculine, both in the sense of representation of who is at the helm of decision making, and also the kind of language that is used when we talk about climate. Second of all, I think a lot of people assume and feel extremely intimidated about climate change as a subject area also because they don't come from a quote unquote pure science, basic science kind of a background. Similarly, communities who have been grappling with climate change for a very long time and more so now feel that they do not know enough about climate change, and they are made to feel that way also by a certain section of the society. But how do we sort of say that it is an everyday issue which is embedded in the lived realities of people and demystify it is a big challenge, and it's a scale problem as well because like we are such a diverse country and there's no one common minimum language of articulating climate.
You get a lot of data sets, right? You get a lot of reports, you get a lot of papers around projections, and then you go on the ground and things might not always add up. So what is the best approach to sort of look at the data that you have on paper, and also the qualitative data that you kind of acquire on the ground? How do we parse through all that information? How do we make sense through it? How do we wade through all the muck, basically, and come up with a narrative which is not only powerful but which is clear enough for any reader to get information about what's happening?
More grassroots journalists are aware of the larger narrative of climate change, right? And they are able to kind of link what they are seeing in their communities to what's happening elsewhere as well, and understand that there is a common phenomenon that's happening. It's not an isolated case. It's something that needs to be also spoken out a little more, with a little more authority, right? And even while talking to your local authorities, it's important to put set it in that context.
So whether it's your YouTubers, whether it is your influencers, whether it is your independent journalists who are starting their YouTube channels, people who have WhatsApp channels, people who have community radio, uh, they are increasingly being able to tell the story with nuance, with sensitivity, and they are physically, some of them, in case of people like me who are living in a big city, will have to take the effort, time, find a way to make the investment of money, time, energy to make that journey and tell that story.
It gives you an opportunity to use your brains in very different ways, look at sources who you would not have thought of as sources before. Clearly, researchers who work on population and demographics, I would say, are a gold mine of information, and we need to really dig deeper into these as well. So yeah, I mean, these barriers, in fact, also lead to opportunities for you to learn more, and a lot of us are also self-taught. So these barriers mean that you also embrace other people or other forms of information, and you learn to dig deeper as well.